Good afternoon, everyone, and thank you. I'm honored to stand here today as the incoming president of the Society of Actuaries. I'll work hard to justify the trust that you placed in me. Before I get into discussing the year ahead, I want to share a few thoughts on what makes this such an important and fulfilling profession. An actuary can be defined as a professional trained in evaluating the current financial implications of future contingent events. This definition can be a bit too much to absorb for most people. When I attempted to use it to explain to my very practical mother what I do for a living, she paused, thought for a bit, and replied, "Oh, you're a bookie." Fortunately, there are many attributes that set us apart from bookies, and in fact, help to make our profession great. We harness our rigorous and advanced training, our mathematical know-how, and our deep understanding of risk and business to address real-world challenges in a way that serves the public interest. The public depends upon us for their financial security. We make important contributions to meeting the needs of the public by ensuring that retirement income is secured, healthcare costs are covered, families are provided for, and property is protected. Our code of conduct defines and documents our commitment to the highest standards of integrity and service. Our examination process ensures that only the most committed and talented individuals can earn the title of ASA and FSA. Our profession is a true meritocracy. Our credentials are not just letters after our name. We have a career that offers variety and numerous opportunities for growth. We continue to rise to the challenge to identify and meet the demands of our rapidly changing world. A few months ago, a prospective actuarial student who had a shirt-tail connection to me through his mother's hairdresser called me to network and to learn more about the profession. Like many of you, I often take such calls. He began the conversation by saying, "Mom says you're an actuary and that you love to talk about yourself." Well, sometimes the truth hurts, but if you'll bear with me, I'd like to take a few moments now to talk about my own journey to becoming an actuary. I'm hoping this will help you to understand some of my motivations for the year ahead. Like many of us, I stumbled into this profession. I was in graduate school at the University of Washington, studying pure mathematics. I was proud of the fact that my studies seemed to have no practical application whatsoever. 30 years ago this summer, I took a leave to get married based on the crazy idea that if I was to marry, I should have a job. This was a different time, and I was able to send out 6 letters, get 5 interviews, and land 4 job offers, despite having only 1 actuarial exam and few practical skills. I was barely even able to spell the word actuary. I found that I liked the work and the income, and I never went back to school. Technically, I think I'm still on leave from the university, though I suspect they've given up on me by now. Entering the actuarial profession is more difficult today, and I recognize that one of my primary obligations as the SOA president is to help grow the profession so that others can have the same opportunities I had. As president, there are 5 essential ideas that I'd like to focus on for the year ahead. First, maintain the value of our credential. Second, strengthen relationships with other actuarial organizations. Third, expand the breadth of work performed by actuaries. Fourth, encourage and support diversity within our profession. And fifth, support our members in international markets and enhance the global reputation of our organization. In order to maintain the value of our credential, we cannot stand still as the world evolves. Our curriculum must change to meet the needs of the public and current and prospective employers. Our research must constantly push forward the frontiers of knowledge and provide practical solutions to important societal problems. The rigor and validity of our examination process must remain beyond reproach. We have one of the top credentials in the world, and I make that claim without intending to limit the comparison to other actuarial credentials. We're the largest actuarial organization in the world, with about 1/3 of the world's credentialed actuaries belonging to the SOA. This size imposes on us a responsibility to set the global standard for a complete quality education and credentialing system. The SOA board takes this responsibility very seriously. We know that your credential is among your most valued assets, and the SOA will always work to maintain the value of that asset. As part of our commitment to provide leading-edge education and validation, the SOA recently formed a learning strategy task force to explore new learning approaches and practices. This task force is assessing the current state of pre-qualification education and continuing education against the desired state. The work takes into account the many changes occurring in adult education and will bring those developments to SOA members and candidates. In addition to education efforts to support the credentials, the SOA continues to develop leading research reports and experience studies. We've completed research on multi-employer pension stress metrics, corporate pension risk, and last fall's experience studies on private pension plan mortality. On the subject of pension mortality, we're also developing an experience study on public pension mortality in response to your requests. If you work in this space, I encourage you to get involved. Your involvement is the key to effective development of accurate and accepted experience studies. During this meeting, the SOA's Post-Retirement Needs and Risks Committee released the initial findings of its Retirement Risk Series, comparing attitudes and concerns among retirees and pre-retirees. There will be 4 topic-specific follow-up reports from this survey data of individuals and couples. Also, the SOA and the American Academy of Actuaries have jointly funded the Longevity Estimator, an online longevity calculator, to provide the public with perspectives on longevity risk. The calculator will be released shortly and may save you from cocktail party conversations where you're asked to tell people how long they're going to live. The SOA has also completed several life research projects, including projects on understanding, modeling, and mitigation of extreme events, exploring the implications of the new mortality tables on insurance products, and the impact of interest rate volatility on life insurance and annuity products. The year has also included the release of new SOA health research on implications of pent-up demand. This research is a preliminary perspective on health services that may be deferred or avoided due to financial constraints as a result of individuals not having health insurance. Turning to the topic of property casualty, we're currently developing research projects in general insurance for 2016 as part of efforts supporting the SOA's General Insurance Track to Fellowship. We're also working together with the Casualty Actuarial Society, the Canadian Institute of Actuaries, and the American Academy of Actuaries to release the Actuaries Climate Index, which analyzes data on the level of climate volatility. I'm particularly excited by this last project as it showcases how actuarial skills can be used to analyze problems beyond our traditional practice areas. In this case, the research topic is one of critical importance to the public and may have material impact on the current climate debate. The Actuaries Climate Index is also a great example of the important and high-quality work that can be done when the actuarial organizations work together. We regularly partner with the other U.S. actuarial organizations and several others from outside our profession to conduct research. I recognize the importance of strengthening these relationships to meet our goal of advancing the profession. It is vital that our profession look and act cohesive. We must work together for the common good of actuaries, their employers and clients, and the public. Through our listening tour visits and other channels, we've heard the message clearly from you on this issue, and improving organizational relationships is one of my top priorities. These relationships are getting better, and we hope and expect that this trend will continue. I encourage you to avoid the temptation to point the finger of blame at any one person or organization. the situation is far more complex than it may appear, and I believe all of the actuarial organizations need to change the way we work and communicate as we strive to move these relationships forward. Some of the other areas in which we work together include the Joint Risk Management section, the ERM Symposium, the Joint Committee on Career Encouragement and Actuarial Diversity, and numerous projects conducted under the auspices of the North American Actuarial Council. I speak frequently with my counterparts at the other 4 U.S. actuarial organizations, as well as at the CIA and other organizations around the world. I often think of the competition situation like the collegial relationship between MIT and Harvard. These schools both offer mathematics degrees. They compete for research dollars, for students, and for faculty. Yet they speak of each other with respect and collaborate on research and educational efforts. We can do the same here in our profession. The SOA is a full-service organization offering credentials covering the different paths an actuary can pursue. We owe it to you, our members, to be the best organization we can be, just as the others owe the same to their members. One way in which we demonstrate that commitment is by offering world-class education and credentialing in all areas of actuarial practice. When we look at the other organizations, we also recognize that in many cases, they are us. Most of our members are members of multiple organizations. Approximately 70% of the members of the Academy are also members of the SOA, and about 50% of the SOA members are also members of the Academy. The SOA's Relationship Task Force is helping identify how we can work on mutually respectable terms with the other actuarial organizations. Recently, this task force has organized presentations by the Canadian Institute of Actuaries, the International Actuarial Association, the China Association of Actuaries, and others to the SOA board. I look forward to speaking to leaders of the other organizations, and I hope that we're given an opportunity to speak to their boards in turn. Communication should increase understanding, and understanding is the key to respect and collaboration. Our approach forward must focus on each organization being the best we can be. We advance the profession by standing taller ourselves and not by pulling the others down. One of my primary goals as president of the SOA is to make sure that we adhere scrupulously to this philosophy, and I ask other organizations to do the same. We gain nothing by standing in the way of the progress of the other organizations or their credentials. Under my leadership, I will do all I can to make sure this does not happen. Actuarial communities also play an important role. The SOA fosters actuarial communities in our own backyard, throughout the continent, and across the oceans. And we continue to build upon these community relationships. We've conducted many club, employer, and university visits, some of which I've already had the pleasure of attending. I look forward to many more such visits in the year ahead. The listening tour that Errol mentioned yesterday has also served as a way to directly hear your questions on specific topics and issues. We've been listening all year. It's who we are. And now, for the 2015 annual meeting and exhibit, we're listening in a new digital way. At this meeting, the Member Intelligence Center, or Mike Wall, provides you a way to share your point of view about the future of our profession and the SOA's strategic direction. Over the last 2 days, we've been listening to your feedback, and one discussion revolves around relevancy. This isn't the first time I've heard the issue, and I expect yesterday's presentation lent some urgency to the discussion. As president, I'm committed to working with the board and you to identify emerging fields for actuaries. In a few moments, I'll delve into our exciting efforts to accelerate actuaries' involvement with big data from research to jobs. I'm glad to see so many of you attend the professional intersection breakfasts and gatherings here at the annual meeting. Professional intersections help provide a connection to specific topics, fields, and trends. You'll see more efforts in the year ahead as we seek to strengthen these intersection opportunities for sharing, learning, and volunteering, not just with members, but with candidates too. Speaking of candidates, I can't forget to mention the connections we're building with the candidate community, both nearby and overseas. The program is called Candidate Connect and includes in-person networking events, career fairs, webinars, and candidate-specific communications on the website, via email, and through social media. As experienced actuaries, I encourage you to attend these events when they happen in your community. By attending SOA meetings like this, you'll have a chance to meet some of these candidates as we hold Candidate Connect events in conjunction with all major SOA meetings. There have been significant educational and intellectual advancements from the organization over the past years, and there are many more opportunities to support you in getting the very most out of an actuarial career. We've also been identifying the challenges. My oldest daughter began her actuarial career this year, accepting an actuarial student position at M Financial in Portland, Oregon. If I did not already have enough incentive to grow and enhance the profession, as a proud dad, that incentive is now immeasurable. The Actuarial Talent Benchmarking Study, jointly funded by the SOA, CIA, and CAS, helps us to understand the supply and demand for actuarial talent through the year 2020. Supply of actuarial students has grown due in part to the perceived employability, job security, and compensation of our profession, as well as, I would like to think, by the realization that our work is important and can be fun. Unfortunately, employment opportunities are not growing as quickly. Entry-level actuaries are experiencing a more competitive job market in the US and Canada. As an organization, the SOA must make expanding the number of work opportunities for actuaries a high priority. We've seen growth in other markets, such as actuaries in banking in South Africa and Australia. Actuaries are taking on HR-related roles in Mexico and environmental sustainability efforts in the United Kingdom. Here in the US and Canada, actuaries are finding new career possibilities with healthcare and enterprise risk management. The SOA's Cultivating Opportunities team continues to explore other new avenues for broadening the scope of actuarial services. A team of volunteers is working on a pilot actuarial candidate internship program aimed at introducing actuarial students and actuarial science to data analytics firms. They placed their first 2 candidates this past summer, and by all accounts, the program was a tremendous success. The team is also pursuing predictive analytics efforts, including education content, research, marketing, and specific work being conducted in the professional interest sections. Speaking of predictive analytics, research and consulting firm Gartner noted that investments in big data continue to rise, with 64% of organizations investing or planning to invest in this field over the next year. With those investments comes the need for new analytical leaders. According to the Actuarial Talent Survey findings, actuaries are needed to fill predictive analytics roles based on our industry expertise and know-how with statistical models. We can provide value to businesses working with big data now and into the future. Actuaries are analyzing data for insurers already, particularly in the health and property casualty space, but also in life, notably in the analysis of policyholder behavior, mortality, and morbidity. But we must do more for the actuarial talent currently in the pipeline. We have the modeling skills, and we have the statistical knowledge. From Amazon to Zillow, we should own this space. At this very conference, there are several sessions on predictive analytics and modeling, from health to life insurance. I hope you've had the chance to attend some of them, and there are still a few more through tomorrow. Speaking of different perspectives, I'd like to take time to talk about the need for diversity in our profession. For too long, we've accepted the fact that Blacks and Hispanics are underrepresented in the North American actuarial profession. Each make up only about 2% of the membership of the SOA and the CAS. According to data from the US Census Bureau, an estimated 82% of the US actuarial profession is Caucasian. The data also showed that 33% of the actuarial profession is female, though recent fellowship classes appear to be much closer to 50-50. While female representation appears to be increasing, women in many professions, including ours, are underrepresented in leadership roles. We can do more to ensure that women are well represented at all levels. The future of our profession depends in part on the actuarial profession overcoming barriers to entry for candidates from diverse racial, ethnic, gender, and educational backgrounds. If the profession fails to be inclusive of the diverse population we serve, we will fail at attracting the best and brightest candidates. Numerous studies show that diverse teams and employers outperform teams that lack diversity. Not confronting this issue head-on will hurt our employers, our clients, and the public. Yes, the examinations do help to make our profession a meritocracy. Some have argued this is enough. I disagree. 50 years ago, in a commencement address at Howard University, Lyndon Johnson said, "You do not take a person who for years has been hobbled by chains and liberate him, bring him up to the starting line of a race, and then say, 'You are free to compete with all the others,' and still justly believe that you have been completely fair. Thus, it is not enough just to open the gates of opportunity. All of our citizens must have the ability to walk through those gates." I think we can and must do more to ensure that everyone has an opportunity to reap the benefits of our profession, and that everyone has the opportunity to walk through the actuarial gates. This is important not just because it is the right thing to do, but because it will benefit our profession and our employers. Variety and background brings different perspectives to the table, perspectives that will make our employers and clients stronger. During the past year, as chair of the SOA's Actuarial Diversity Task Force, I've come to realize how much work actuarial employers are doing on the diversity issue already. In talking to employers on our listening tour visits, I've seen how much our employers care. The SOA can and will do more to improve the pipeline of candidates from underrepresented group to meet the needs of our employers. As chair of the task force, I'd like to share information on some of the latest activities to help diversify the U.S. profession. We're building on and enhancing current efforts and collaborations with other organizations inside and outside the actuarial profession. As part of these efforts, we're exploring how best to provide mentoring, networking, and recruiting opportunities for the next generations of actuaries. However, in order to accomplish all of these efforts, we need to make the profession more known to these diverse audiences. Earlier this year, I attended a recruiting event in Seattle sponsored by the Association of Latino Professionals for America on behalf of the Joint Committee on Career Encouragement and Actuarial Diversity. The room was filled with tables staffed by recruiters from accounting firms, Boeing, Microsoft, Amazon, and Starbucks, as well as dozens of bright, talented, enthusiastic Hispanic college students. Many of them stopped by our table to ask questions, and the most frequent question I got was, "What's an actuary?" Clearly, we have work to do to enhance the awareness of our profession among some communities. We have an opportunity and an obligation to increase the pipeline of actuaries representing diverse groups and ideas. We need to let other groups know about our great profession and the prestige and meritocracy in getting the credentials. We'll look for ways to encourage more women to join this profession at all of the different levels, including senior roles. We'll work to encourage more people from underrepresented racial and ethnic groups to pursue careers in the actuarial profession. Yes, we are somewhat constrained by the size of the pipeline, but we can grow that pipeline, especially if we can partner with other professional organizations. Currently, the representation of Blacks and Hispanics in our profession is at only about a third of their share of the STEM professions overall. We can and we must do better. For over 30 years, the SOA and the CAS have sponsored the Joint Committee on Career Encouragement and Actuarial Diversity to promote the profession and actuarial diversity to high school students and teachers. These efforts include exam reimbursement for qualified students, support for summer actuarial science programs at universities, and supporting the International Association of Black Actuaries through sponsorship of their annual meeting and their student boot camp. Both the CAS and the SOA support the Actuarial Foundation as it promotes diversity within the profession through an annual college scholarship program for minority college students pursuing actuarial studies. I encourage you to investigate these efforts and support the Actuarial Foundation when and where you can. Change takes time, and I will need your support in helping to make it happen. One final topic I want to address is that of the ever-increasing global nature of the business world. Through technology and market shifts, we grow increasingly connected. You may already work for a company owned outside North America, or you may work for an American company with interests outside the US and Canada. Expanding the reach and reputation of the SOA outside North America has the potential to benefit all of us. Years ago, the importance of this was brought home to me when I undertook a consulting assignment on behalf of a British actuary at a French-owned company in Japan, working with an Australian staff member while working for an American consulting firm. Trite though it may sound, the world is globalizing, and the SOA must as well, or we will be left behind. Around 21% of our candidates come from outside the US and Canada, and this number is growing. We must commit to providing international candidates and members the services that they need while not ignoring the needs of our US and Canadian members and candidates. The SOA's relationship with the International Actuarial Association, the Institute and Faculty of Actuaries, and the China Association of Actuaries are great examples of how we productively and cordially work with other actuarial organizations around the world, even as we compete in some areas. We take great pride in our credentials, and these credentials are that much stronger by being recognized around the world. That is why we have staff and members helping represent us in Asia. That is why we benchmark our continuing education with the IFFA. We seek to represent you, our members, on a global level while also serving you here in the US and Canada. In closing, you've placed your trust in me to protect and expand our profession. I intend to work hard to make decisions that always maintain the value of our credential. I pledge to conduct SOA business in a way that strengthens relationships with other organizations and fosters the growing actuarial community. I will seek out opportunities to grow the profession. I plan to encourage and support diversity within our profession. I will embrace the global opportunities that continue to expand our world. Finally, I will be listening to you, SOA members, for feedback and new ideas. I hope not to let you down. For all these reasons, I'm looking forward to the year ahead. I look forward to hearing more from you on what the SOA can do to strengthen our profession and better serve the public. Thank you.